Shelby Austin is the founder and CEO of Arteria AI, a spin-off of Deloitte's award-winning digital contracting software into a standalone business. Shelby was previously the managing partner of growth and investments and Omnia AI at Deloitte. Shelby's responsibilities included inorganic and accelerated growth investments through acquisition, ventures, incubation, and scale-up. She was also responsible for asset development activities and its AI and data footprint. Prior to joining Deloitte, Shelby was the founder of ATD Legal Services, a high-growth startup, which was later acquired by Deloitte. Shelby is also the recipient of several awards, including the Rising Stars Award given by Lexpert magazine to Canada's leading lawyers under 40, and the Canada's Most Powerful Women Top 100 Award given by the Women's Executive Network. ATD was also named one of Canada's Hot 50 companies by Profit magazine. Shelby is the author of a 2015 release, A Practical Guide to E-Discovery in Canada, and has also published articles in the area of legal outsourcing and speaks frequently on the future of law. Welcome, Shelby.
Thank you for having me, Pelin. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you on the topic of women founders today, given entrepreneurship has been such a passion of mine for quite some time. So let's just dive into it then. I don't want to hold up the conversation. First question, in a 2020 annual report on the state of women's entrepreneurship in Canada, which was issued by the Women's Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub, it was highlighted that only 16% of small to medium-sized enterprises are majority owned by women. Further, even less women entrepreneurs are likely to be in the field of technology or AI. As a woman founder and CEO of an AI company, what would you say is keeping women away from entrepreneurship? And what, in your opinion, can be done about it?
It's a great question. So I think that the reason why people stay away from entrepreneurship is because it seemed to be a very hard field. But I also think it's the same reason why women stay away from technology in general, and STEM fields as well, is because it seems almost insurmountable. It's so tough. What I'll let you know is that on my journey, I never thought I could do it. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur, and there's nothing special that qualifies me to be able to do it. I think it's really just a matter of taking the right bold steps and really understanding that this could potentially be your path, and then just really giving it a go. One of the great sort of entrepreneurial mentors who's written fabulous books is a guy named Guy Kawasaki, and he wrote a book called The Art of the Start. And what he always says is just, those who should start companies should really just start. And that was really inspirational to me, both in starting my first company and then starting again now, which is if you just kind of jump in with both feet, you're going to be okay. And hope that for the best. And there are plenty of people out there now to support you, particularly female entrepreneurs. So if you're thinking about it, please do call any of us who have sort of done this already, because there's lots and lots of support out there for those who want to try.
That's awesome. I do have a few ideas swarming around in my head, so maybe I will reach out to you after this. Question number 2. So let's talk about raising capital. And raising capital is known to be a challenging task for any entrepreneurs, but with only 3% of companies with women CEOs founded with venture capitalist funding, why do you think raising money is more of a challenge for women entrepreneurs? And what, in your opinion, are possible solutions?
Yeah, so I think it's quite hard to raise money, and I'm not very experienced in this because I have always bootstrapped my companies, and now I'm thinking about that next step for Arteria. And so I think one of the reasons why it's so intimidating is that most venture capitals venture capital firms are run by men. And so I think it's particularly interesting that if all of the startups in the world, if only 16% of them are run by women, and then only 3% are sort of venture-backed female-led companies, that's a bit sad. The stats will also show that if you're a woman, you cut your value when you're raising in half, which is wild to me. And so I suppose my strategy is really just to present myself in the best way possible, do a lot of research, really look for people who have invested in women previously and are supportive of women, but also, again, just just go at it and just ensure that there's enough competitive attention around what you're doing, that you're treated fairly and get the right terms, because I think it's really important as we get more women through, who, by the way, show better performance numbers than companies run by their male counterparts. So it should be women-led companies should be better founded, better invested in. I think it's really important that we, ensure that path is charted quite well. And the numbers were going quite a bit higher up and looked really sort of optimistic pre-COVID, and now have come back down a little bit to earth. So I think there's still a journey to go there, as there always is, but I'm feeling optimistic that we as a collective female founders will be able to sort of push through that newest glass ceiling.
What better reason to support entrepreneurs than after learning women-led, venture-backed companies do better than our male counterparts? Question number 3, as a woman entrepreneur and advocate of women's mentoring and networking programs, how do you personally go about encouraging and supporting female talent?
Yeah, so first of all, I think it's really important to ensure that women feel that they can ask for help. And so everyone out there who's listening to this, please know that you should and can ask for help. Now, that doesn't always mean that you're going to get a positive answer, and that's okay too. It's okay to get a no. For example, a number of women approach me, and the way I choose to spend my time is really with a small number of women that I see very high potential in, that I'm committed to spending sort of deep time with over a period of years, versus necessarily meeting with every woman that I may connect with, and having a series of shorter, sort of shallower interactions. That said, I'm just one person. There could be many, many women out there who can have all sorts of different contacts and different ways that they can mentor. And so I will just say, the more interactions and the more we can have sort of groups of women who help each other through the journey, particularly in this crazy entrepreneurial world, I think the better. So start with informal, and then move to formal if you sort of require the additional infrastructure.
And just a note, with Women in Leadership Foundations, the organization that's allowed us to come together today also has a structured mentoring program. And for the viewers out there that are interested, please head over to our website in Women in Leadership Foundation to find out more. 4th question. I once personally pitched a business venture on pantyhose to a room largely of men. Needless to say, my pitch did not land. Can you share an experience you had presenting to a group of predominantly males in regard to your business or a business venture in general, whereby the message you were conveying was not received?
First of all, I think ventures in pantyhose are very hot right now, so you should consider that. If you look at Spanx and Nix, I think that you were really onto something. There have been many, many rooms in which my message has not landed, some with men in them, some with all women. I think in all circumstances, it's just really important to be radically candid with yourself. Come out of the room, say, why didn't that land? Was it them? Was it me? Was I not on my best game? I will say I'm my own harshest critic. I'll probably think about this talk here and the fact that I didn't read the questions well enough or, answer them the best I could. And so I think having humility in terms of how you see those circumstances is really important. That said, in the rare room where I have been in where my message did not land, and I do not think it was on me, I think that there was some other bias there, particularly when I was a very young female entrepreneur in my 20s. I just think that it really made me grow a tougher skin and just made me pick myself up again. And I would say count it in the resilience column and move on. And, don't think too much about the unwarranted advice that was given in that particular room, and really spend that time focusing on all that great sort of feedback that you'll get in other rooms.
I want to ask you one last question, and this is one, please, about you and how you got to where you are today. Please tell us your story and maybe some of the challenges and hurdles that you've overcome to get to where you are today, which is a successful woman CEO.
So I think my journey started, I always wanted to be a lawyer, and I went after it and became a partner at the most amazing law firm, which I still love to this day. I then thought, well, gosh, the whole world is being disrupted. And I think with any entrepreneur, we see the world in terms of a series of problems that we may or may not be able to fix. In that case, I thought that I could fix the legal spend on sort of very large transactions. And so I went ahead and started a company that worked on that problem and had, quite a lot of success over the next 4 years. I then ended up being pregnant with my first child. And thinking, I'm not sure if I want all those mortgages underneath my purview. And so I ended up selling my company to Deloitte, which started the next chapter of a whole new journey. And I had the most wonderful career there. Again, another fabulous organization that, by the way, is hugely supportive of women and just hugely supportive of, really growing amazing leaders there. And they gave me so many opportunities to run various aspects of their innovation portfolios and M&A portfolios, and then some of their businesses where I got to grow some new businesses, including Omnia AI, as I think you said before. And then there was just a turning point where I thought, gosh, I have one more swing in me, and I'd really like to go and just try one more time as an entrepreneur, and thought that it was sort of the right time in my life and in my family's life that made a lot of sense. And so spun Arteria out of Deloitte and have now started again, which brings me to where I am today. Just a few highlights. I would say like fortune favors the bold is the one that I always come back to. And I hope that every woman on this call really appreciates that there is nothing particularly special about me or my journey. It's mostly that I was willing to try and fall and try again and fall and try again. And that's sort of been what's led to the success. Conan O'Brien, in a speech that he gave to, I believe it was Harvard, a graduation speech, said, "Success is like a white tuxedo. You're always kind of a bit concerned about messing it up." I suppose my hardest hurdle in the more recent years is to try again was really, was really a challenge for me to get over myself and say, gosh, I could give that white tuxedo and go and roll around in the mud in it. And I'll tell you this, now that I'm rolling around in the mud, don't know how it will turn out. It does feel good. And it feels good to sort of be up at bat again. So would highly encourage anyone listening here to give it a go. And thank you for having me.
What an inspiring story. I think you hit the nail on the head. Without failure, there truly is no success. While I believe women have made such headway in entrepreneurship over the years, there's still so much that needs to be done to promote and support female founders. But I'm optimistic with female founders like yourself to help support us. We have a pretty optimistic future.